Think you know your Commanders? Think again. While DC slept, a 7th-round rookie sneaked into the starting backfield numbers. Show him 20% more explosive than any RB this decade. But folks, catch your breath. Green Bay's got a shadowy assassin, a slot receiver aiming to ruin prime time. How many touchdowns will it cost us? Here's the killer trick. While you're tracking WRS, Quinn pulled a spy move, bringing in a camouflage weapon from a rival NFC team. Punter or triple agent? This isn't a game. It's Cold War in the NFL. Subscribe now, comments off in 3, 2, or miss the secret that'll have you chanting hail at midnight. Will we survive Thursday? Stay tuned or prepare to regret it. Family, let's start with something that may sound crazy, but has rock-solid foundations. According to top ESPN insiders like Jeremy Fowler and Dan Graziano, Jakery Krosky-Merritt, that 7th-round rookie most hadn't heard of 2 weeks ago, isn't just going to be a starter eventually. He could be the immediate future of our ground game. Let me put this in context because it's truly historic. Do you know how many players have jumped from complete anonymity to leading a backfield? This fast in modern NFL? I'll give you the answer. Very, very few. And even fewer with numbers as impressive as Krosky-Merritt's on Sunday. 10 carries, 82 rushing yards, 8.2 yards per carry, which is monstrous in today's NFL, and on top of that, a touchdown that sealed the victory against the Giants. But here's the truly explosive part. Jeremy Fowler, who has direct access to sources within organizations, not only says he expects his momentum to continue, which would already be significant, but directly predicts, and I quote, Krosky-Merritt might not be the starting running back yet, but he will eventually be. The Commanders players were impressed by the patience and vision he showed running with the starters during training camp. And when an insider of Fowler's caliber goes out on a limb like that on ESPN, believe me, it's because the intel is coming straight from the locker room, the coaches, the organization. It's not speculation. It's real intelligence. Dan Graziano, his colleague, and another journalist with impeccable credentials, not only agrees, but adds details that will give you chills. He said, and again I quote, I was in that locker room after Sunday's game against the Giants, and I can say categorically that they were very happy with what they got from the 7th-round rookie. I expect him to be their main type for most of this season, along with Eckler, who has his own specific role. Do you realize the magnitude of this? A guy who was in the locker room, who saw the faces, heard the conversations, felt the vibe, is telling us the organization already sees Krosky-Merritt as a fundamental part of the immediate future. But let's dig deeper. There are details that are absolutely revealing and show this wasn't fluke or beginner's luck. When Chris Rodriguez Jr. was declared a healthy scratch on Sunday, that is, he was perfectly fine to play, but the organization chose not to activate him. That wasn't a last-minute tactical decision. It was a clear and definitive statement of intent. The organization is ready to bet on the future, and that future is 22 years old, 5'11", 210 pounds, and named Jakery Krosky-Merritt. Numbers don't lie. He ran with patience, waited for the correct gaps, made the right choices, and when the opportunity for explosiveness came, he seized it to the fullest. But here's something interesting that could affect Thursday's game. Graziano suggests they might rotate the running backs more against the Packers to avoid overloading the rookie in 2 important games within just 5 days. However, and this is crucial, he also admits he doesn't have specific insider information backing this theory, and that his impression after being in the locker room Sunday is that the organization fully trusts, giving him more responsibilities. The reality is Austin Eckler still has a specific role as a receiver out of the backfield and in passing down situations. Jeremy McNichols brings experience and versatility, and Rodriguez Jr. is there as depth. But the hierarchy of the backfield is literally changing before our eyes week by week. And do you know what's most striking about all this? That a 7th-round player, who most of us didn't even know existed when we picked him in April, is now considered by national experts as the future of a rushing attack for a team with serious playoff aspirations in 2025. This reminds me of historic cases like Arian Foster in Houston, who came in as an undrafted free agent and ended up being a Pro Bowler, or more recently, Philip Lindsay in Denver. Players who came in with no expectations and revolutionized the position. Do you think we're ready to see such a dramatic and rapid change at this crucial position? Or do you prefer the stability and experience of Eckler leading the backfield? Share your thoughts below because I want to know what the Burgundy and Gold Nation thinks. And if you thought that was the most impactful news of the week, fam, wait till you hear the next one, because it could define if we win or lose Thursday. Family, if there's something keeping me up at night, thinking about Thursday's game against Green Bay, it's not Aaron Jones, it's not Jordan Love, it's not the Packers' edge rushers. It's a receiver that most casual fans probably don't. No, but could turn our primetime evening into an absolute nightmare. Jayden Reed. Does that name ring a bell? Perfect. Just like it happened with Wan'Dale Robinson of the Giants last Sunday. But let me explain why Reed is potentially much more dangerous and why our defense should be losing sleep preparing for him. First, let's contextualize what happened Sunday with Robinson to understand the magnitude of the problem coming. Robinson, primarily playing from the slot, hurt us with 6 catches for 55 receiving yards. And here's the painful stat. He averaged 5.7 yards after the reception per completed pass, secured 4 crucial first downs too, keep drives alive, and had an average depth of just 3.1 yards per target. What does that last thing mean? He was receiving super short passes, almost screens and quick slants. But his ability to generate extra yards after the catch made them significant plays. And the most troubling part, most of those receptions came on inside routes from the slot, exactly where the Packers will place Reed. Now, why is Reed more dangerous than Robinson? Let's look at the numbers and film. According to Player Profiler, Reed recorded 416 snaps from the slot during the 2024 season. He's not an occasional slot receiver. He's a specialist. He's got that deceptive speed that turns an 8-yard route into a 25-yard explosive, and the technique to separate in tight spaces. The Packers are masters at hiding him in post-snap traffic. They use trips formations, bunch formations, and legal pick concepts to create confusion and free Reed from coverage. Matt LaFleur is too smart not to exploit the weaknesses we showed Sunday. Let me show you exactly how they can hurt us. Against Detroit in Week 1, Reed lined up as an inside receiver in a trips formation, 3 receivers on the same side, and ran a post route from the slot for a 12-yard touchdown. The key? The Packers used what's called a legal pick concept, where other receivers created a wall to delay the nearest cornerback. In this case, Detroit's Terry and Arnold. Playing man coverage against these formations is literally a nightmare. The defender gets caught in traffic while Reed finds the perfect space to separate. And although technically, rub routes concepts toe the line between legal and illegal, referees rarely penalize them if well executed. So, what options does Joe Witt Jr. have to neutralize Reed? There are several, but each carries its risks. The conventional option would be to put Mike Sainristil on Reed in the slot. Sainristil is naturally an inside defender. He understands the slot responsibilities and has the agility to keep up with quick receivers. But here's the problem Sunday. We saw him grasping at air at times against Robinson, and to make things worse, Robinson already burned him last year for a touchdown in Week 2 of 2024. Coincidence? I don't think so. Robinson has similar traits to Reed: speed from the slot, ability to separate on short routes, YAC capability. If Robinson could succeed against Sainristil, what makes us think Reed won't but better? Option 2, risk with Marshon Lattimore shadowing. Reed, Lattimore is our most talented cornerback, a 4-time Pro Bowler with aggressive lockdown tendencies that work best near the line of scrimmage. His more physical, handsy style could neutralize Reed's ability for quick separation. But here comes the strategic dilemma. If Lattimore is covering Reed from the slot, who handles Romeo Dew outside? Who covers Dontavian Wicks? Who takes care of rookie Matthew Golden, a first-rounder with impressive physical tools? Option 3. Put second-round rookie Trey Amos in off coverage on Reed. Amos impressed against the Giants, showed solid instincts and fundamentally sound technique. But asking a rookie to handle a specialist receiver like Reed in his second NFL game, in prime time, at Lambeau Field, is a lot of pressure on a kid just starting his pro career. The smartest solution might be a combo. Lattimore shadows Reed in the slot, with Quan Martin acting as robber coverage. Martin would drop from the safety level post-snap specifically to intercept the crossing routes Reed loves to run from bunch formations. It's risky because it leaves other areas vulnerable, but it might be the only way to neutralize the main threat. Let's be brutally honest. If we don't have a specific, detailed, well-executed plan for Reed, we'll be watching unpleasant highlights on ESPN Friday morning. Our slot coverage remains vulnerable. We proved that Sunday, and Reed is exactly the dynamic type of receiver who can exploit that weakness when least expected. The Packers aren't the Giants. Matt LaFleur isn't Brian Dabble. Green Bay will come with a more sophisticated, very hard-to-predict plan. And if Reed has an amplified Robinson-type performance, it could be a very long night for our defense. Do you trust Witt Jr. and Dan Quinn to make the necessary adjustments to neutralize Reed? Or are you worried we'll see the same coverage mistakes that nearly cost us against the Giants? Give me your Thursday game prediction. How many points do we score and how many do we allow? But family, while everyone's focused on external threats, there are internal moves that can be just as important for our future. While all media attention is on Jaden Reed, Krosky Merrick, and Thursday's game, there are moves in Washington's offices that seem routine on the surface, but could be strategic gold. The Commanders just signed veteran punter Mitch Wishnowsky to the practice squad, cutting tight end Lawrence Cager in the process. Why should you care about a 33-year-old punter? Because Wishnowsky isn't just any punter, folks. This man comes directly from the San Francisco 49ers, one of our direct rivals in the NFC Conference, after 5 full seasons accumulating secrets, knowing offensive and defensive systems, understanding how coordinators across the NFC West think. Is this simply special teams reinforcement, or is Dan Quinn playing 4D chess? I'll give you my theory, and you tell me if I'm crazy or if it makes sense. First, Wishnowsky's background. We're not talking about a random journeyman. He was a 4th-round pick by the 49ers in 2019 straight out of Utah, which is already historic because very few punters are picked that high in the modern draft. The Niners saw something special in him from the start. During his time in San Francisco, Wishnowsky wasn't just a starting punter. He signed a 4-year extension for $13 million in 2022. $13 million for a punter means the organization considered him a fundamental part of their special teams. You don't give that money out of nostalgic sentiment. What happened then? San Francisco cut him in May of 2025, apparently for salary cap reasons, and because they trusted his replacement. But here's the interesting part. In 2024, before getting cut, Wishnowsky appeared in 9 games for the Niners until an injury pulled him out of rotation. Now, Dan Quinn rescues him just as we enter the most challenging part of our season. Coincidence? I don't think so at all. Think of it this way. Wishnowsky has been in the locker room when Kyle Shanahan designs game plans. He's seen how DeMeco Ryans now Houston's head coach, but previously San Francisco's defensive coordinator structures defenses. He's been present in meetings when NFC East teams' trends are discussed since San Francisco plays us, Dallas, Philadelphia, and New York in regular rotation. That type of intelligence isn't learned by watching YouTube film or reading scouting reports. It's insider knowledge, specific tendencies, little details that can make the difference in critical situations. Do you remember the tactic the New England Patriots used during their dynasty? They constantly signed veterans from direct rivals, just before playoffs or at critical season moments. It wasn't about those players' physical abilities. It was about the information they brought along. Wisnowski represents exactly that. Quinn is building an intelligence arsenal while reinforcing a position that, let's be honest, needed depth after the inconsistencies we've had in special teams over past seasons. But there's more. The timing of this move is super interesting. They signed him to the practice squad just before the game against Green Bay, a team historically connected to San Francisco through several coaches and front office executives. Is Quinn seeking specific intel for future matchups? Moreover, observe how he's building the entire practice squad. They're not just names to fill spaces. We've got safety Rob McDaniel adding defensive experience, TJ Magaronyanga through the International Player Pathway Program, showing global vision, Sam Hartman as a development quarterback. Each piece has a specific purpose. The practice squad now includes 17 total players. DT Ricky Barber, WR Ja'Cory Brooks, DT Sheldon, DC Michael Dieter, CB Antonio Hamilton Sr., Cool B Sam Hartman, Day Jalen Holmes, WR Jacoby Jones, Day TJ Magaronyanga, S. Rob McDaniel, G. Timothy McKay, while Chris Moore, CB Carolyn Vigers, RB Donovan Edwards, CB Darius Rush, G. Darian Dalcourt, and now P. Mitch Wisnowski. That's real depth in key positions, playoff experience in some cases, and developmental potential. In others, Quinn isn't just managing a season. He's building a culture and system for sustained success. And why cut Lawrence Cager specifically? Cager is a tight end, a position where we already have considerable depth with Zach Ertz, John Bates, and others. But quality NFL punters with experience in winning organizations like San Francisco don't grow on trees. My theory is this move serves three purposes. 1. Reinforce special teams with someone who understands big game pressure. 2. Add intel on NFC rival systems and trends. And 3. Show the organization and locker room that Quinn is willing to make smart and unconventional moves to improve the team. Is it an immediate game changer? Probably not. Could it be that invisible detail making the difference in a crucial game in December or January? Absolutely yes. Do you like these undercover moves by Dan Quinn that show long-term strategic thinking? Or do you think I'm reading too much into a simple practice squad move? Convince the community in the comments. Family, these three stories may seem independent, but believe me, they're connected in the overall strategy for a season that still has the potential to completely surprise us. Now that we have all the pieces on the table, let me connect the dots, because what's happening in Washington isn't isolated events. It's a coordinated strategy showing exactly where this organization is heading under Dan Quinn and Adam Peters. First, Kroski Merritt's meteoric rise isn't mere coincidence. It's the result of an organizational philosophy prioritizing merit over pedigree, production over reputation. Quinn and Peters are building a culture where the best player plays, regardless of where drafted or how much they're paid. That mentality is also reflected in how they're handling the defense. Rather than simply expecting veterans to solve this problem of read and the slot coverage, they're considering all options: rookies, veterans, creative combinations. No sacred cows. And Wisnowski's move, though it might seem small, reflects the same philosophy, using every possible advantage, no matter how unconventional, to improve the team. It's thinking outside the box applied practically. But let's dig deeper. What do these three pieces of news tell us about the real aspirations of this season? The fact national insiders like Fowler and Graziano are predicting a 7th rounder will be a starter suggests the organization is communicating confidence. Internally, they're not in let's see what happens mode. They're in we expect to compete at a high level mode. The legitimate concern about Reed shows Quinn and his staff are taking every opponent seriously. There are no trap games in their mindset. They're preparing for Green Bay like it's a playoff game because they understand every victory matters in a competitive NFC. And Wisnowski represents long-term thinking. Quinn isn't just managing 2025. He's building something sustainable. Every move has implications beyond just this season. Do you see the connection between these decisions? Or am I overthinking? Does it give you more confidence? Seeing this decision-making coherence? Or would you prefer a more conservative approach? Family, it's time for the truth. With all this information, how do I see Thursday's game against Green Bay? Offensively, I expect to see more of Kroenke merit than expected. If ESPN's insiders are right about his trajectory, Quinn will give him opportunities to continue building momentum. But I also expect Eckler to have a significant role, especially in passing situations where his experience could be crucial. Defensively, everything revolves around how we handle Reed and the Packers' slot game. If Witt Jr. can devise a plan to neutralize Reed without sacrificing coverage elsewhere, we've got a real chance. But if Reed has an amplified Robinson-type game, we could be in trouble. Special teams might be more important than usual, especially if the game is close. Field position will matter, and this is where the experience of players like Wishnowsky, even if on the practice squad, could influence preparation. My prediction: Washington 24, Green Bay 21. A game decided by small margins, where execution under pressure determines the winner. Kroenke merit has his breakout performance in prime time, but Reed also makes plays. In the end, our home crowd advantage and superior preparation make the difference. What's your Thursday night football prediction? More conservative or more aggressive than mine? Burgundy and Gold family, this is exactly what makes our community different. Here we don't just analyze the news superficially. We dig deep, connect dots, and understand the real implications for our team. A 7th-round rookie who could revolutionize our rushing attack. A receiver from Green Bay who might expose our defensive vulnerabilities if we're not prepared. And a veteran punter representing more than just special teams depth, strategic thinking, and long-term vision. If any of these topics made you rethink our season, if you have a different perspective, if you want to debate any of these points, this is your space. The best comments always get highlighted in the next video, and your opinion matters to the entire community. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't yet. Every day we grow, and each video brings exclusive information you won't find elsewhere. Like if this content added value to you, and activate that bell, because Thursday night right after the game, we'll have a complete analysis of everything that happened. Which of these 3 stories do you see having the most potential to change our season trajectory? How many games do you think we win if Kroenke merit truly becomes our feature back? Or are you more worried Reed will make us look bad on national television? I await your answer below. And remember, we're more than fans. We're a family supporting this team through everything. Hail to the Commanders. See you after Thursday's game with a complete analysis of everything that happened at Lambeau Field.